What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Alex and today we have another video. So sorry I've been gone for so long. It has really been a couple of months, super busy in terms of working on my house. My son was born, tons of different things kind of going on. So really busy at Cardfight, kind of took a little bit of a break in terms of my content, making things of that nature, but I'm kind of back. I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of things. And this is a deck that I've actually been playing with, tooling it out a little bit. And I actually think that it did get some support recently that does really help it out. And if you are looking for an upgrade to your starter deck and you're looking at an Oselargest deck, I believe this is really like, if you have the promo cards, everything else is like fairly cheap. I feel like if you have a couple of these things, I'm going to go through 3 different builds. One of the Coro boss, one of the main boss that you see on screen over here, and then lastly, just like a budget build. So if you don't want to spend maybe on the promo, a couple other things, you can definitely go and do this. So without further ado, let's hop right into it over here. I'm just going to full screen this for myself right there. There we go. Basically over here with this list, what you want to be doing is committing a little bit early if you have the Philia. So Philia is this new order card, or I mean, it's kind of basically the Shenri clone for Dark States. Came out with, what was it, the manga. If you bought the manga, you get this promo. Over here, this kind of opens up and enables us to draw a little bit more and survive into the late game, hit some better numbers. Also just enables us early game to kind of get things off and just get the ball rolling a little bit more aggressively than it was in the past. I feel like this is kind of like another band-aid card where, you know, it's update.deck where you don't need a ton of generics, but this is one of them that you kind of do in general. So this is just kind of like one of the main flows of the engine. We also got a couple new cards which I'm going to kind of go over, but let's just go straight through it, starting from the top. Obviously any starter you want really over here. When this is the grade 1, basically soul charges 2, choose one of your Vanguard, 5k. That's important, that 5k, because if you are on your second grade 2, which is this guy right here, and you're boosting with the Philia is live, it has that extra 5k. It's a 28k column, which is pretty nice. It just, you know, hit the crit, boom, you put your opponent in like a really weird position. It makes like a 1 to pass really hard for your opponent and kind of keeps it at that. So playing a little bit of a gambling game, which is really nice. Over here too, when this guy's rode upon with Oselargest, you basically just draw a card. You're going to have enough cards in soul, it's no big deal. And then if you do somehow get this out and you want to just pop it down for a, what is it, like an intercept kind of thing, it gets an extra 10k over here with the shield, which is pretty nice. Now Oselargest itself, of course, is a starter deck boss unit. With that being said, it has that counterblast skill. Go find a copy of itself, give yourself 10k, which is really, really nice. And when it attacks a Vanguard, you can EB4, choose a grade 3 or less card from your soul, call it to rearguard, and it gets 10k until the end of turn. I think it's stronger than like the other Coro version of this over here. I'm not talking about the start deck version. I'm talking about like the remake of this, you know, whatever. Every start deck pretty much got it, except Marlene's just got a broken promo. But that over there is the ride line. I feel like it is pretty decently strong. Your soul naturally is a toolbox in Dark States, so this kind of just dips into that. And it's not a crazy deck in general, but it's pretty consistent, and that is really what we're going after. A consistency card, speaking of over here, is the Steam Artist Tilligan. So Tilligan allows us then to, when it attacks, Soul Blast 1, gets 5k. If you Soul Blasted an Oselargest for this, you basically get an extra 15 instead of 5. So it could be on your push turn that you give this guy the extra power, but its main, I feel like the main draw of this card, in all honesty, is the Soul Blast 2 cards with different card names from your soul, and then you draw a card when it gets put in from rearguard into soul. So there are ways to do that pretty easily in this deck, and you see one of them, you kind of recycle it. Let's kind of go over that now. Just speaking of course, we're going to use Howdy Peerage. I'm only running 3 of this just because if you see one, it kind of stays in play unless it gets bound out or kind of like removed from game through various different methods. But for the most part, you're kind of fine when your drop in the drop zone, when your grade 3 Vanguard with Oselargest is placed during your ride phase. If you do not have a rearguard with this name, you basically Soul Blast 1, call this out, and then you get Energy Charge 1. The Energy Charge 1 does matter, I think, on like the 3rd or 4th use of the Vanguard skill. And if you want to use any other Energy Blast at the same time too, that does actually matter. There is like a unique situation where it pops up. At the end of the battle, this guy boosted with the unit with Tilligan, so the grade 3 we just went over. You basically put 2 rearguards in the same column into soul, draw a card, choose a card from your drop, put it into your soul. So that allows you to kind of just start to take things from your drop, recycle them, make that soul your piggy bank. So honestly, really good in that regard. Also the card draw, it's just really strong, along with Tilligan's kind of card draw right here. It ends up this, the Philia, and yeah, the grade 1 right there that we just went over. Those 3 together kind of start making this draw engine alive in this deck and actually feel really good. On top of that, we did get a multi-attacker in a recent set as well, so this is going to be half Beast, Demonic Spearman, Satageros. So basically this guy, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest, gets 5k, but when this is retired from rearguard during your battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest in its card name, CB1, choose a card with a different card name from this one from your soul, call it to rearguard circle. That is honestly the multi-attacker that we kind of needed. Now, we don't have absolutely insane multi-attackers in this deck. Like, there aren't a ton of great call targets outside of Tilligan, but honestly, sometimes that's all you really need. And so long as you have that kind of like card draw engine kind of thing going on, it feels really decent overall. Let's just continue on over here. So of course we are running affiliate in here, and you want a way to search orders. I was using the counterblast guide, but sometimes it felt a little funny between this right here and the grade 3, Oselargest himself. You were using at least 2 counterblasts, and if your opponent isn't giving you that many, it just felt weird. There's the grade 1 order searcher, I forgot his name, that goes searches like the mansion. It is decent, but it's just a little bit too CB heavy in certain scenarios. It will work generally a lot of the time, but I just decided to cut it over here in this build. So what was it going over here? So instead, when placed on the rear guard circle, this is just like the generic, what is the booster? Every nation kind of got one. When it's placed on rear, Soul Blast 1, search your deck for a Game of Underworld, put it into your order zone, shuffle your deck. This guy is chosen by a Game of Underworld. This guy gets an additional 5k. Basically, the order that we are looking for over here, we're just running one of them because you only really need one. God forbid it gets, just sent to damage. It did happen to be one game actually last Friday, but at the beginning of your battle phase, choose one of your back or rear guards, gets boosted to the end of turn. So basically it becomes a 15k booster. Why is that important in this deck? Well, you do want to put pressure through your Vanguard because you are doing a multi-attack. So if your Vanguard cracks through, it feels pretty good. It should get the 10k from this ability if you are using it every single turn. So that's 23k, potentially 33k. You bump that up to a 38 or 48k. It's just a much harder number to guard. I feel like the 15k booster in this kind of thing does feel good, and you don't really want this guy or this guy behind your Vanguard overall. You need to make room for Philia. This just feels good where it is at in terms of the center column. So this is a new card over here as well. Summon Coro Mage Corville. If you have a grade 3 or greater with Rewinder or Oselargest, the Rewinder is like the remake of it. This guy gets all the following in drop and your Vanguard's placed. Basically, you call this if you don't have another card with the same name. You soul charge one. So this works in tandem with the other one over here. This is the Haughty Peerage, but its main skill at the end of battle, this unit boosted, put this into soul. Look at the top 5 cards. Choose one grade 3 or greater card with that Regalia's piece. From among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So if you want to go find the Dilligans, super easy now. Also, if you are running that Coro boss, the Rewinder, obviously that's made for that as well, but sometimes you don't want to use that counterblast for this. You can still go and find your Persona rides. There's not a ton of grade 3 targets, but the fact that Tilligan is so important in this deck is honestly worth running him. Now, I'm actually running him at 3 of. I do want to just show you. I don't think it's in deck log yet. I don't see it on TCG Player, but there is a promo card, Phantom Aria Demonic Lady Flauros over here. I don't know if you can kind of see that on screen, but this is what it does look like. Her skill, we were actually running 3 of the Summon Crow and 1 of her. Phantom Aria Demonic Lady Flauros. Her skill is auto when this card is discarded from hand during your turn. You may put this card into your soul. So again, we're not running like the cyclers here. So just putting this into soul feels actually pretty decent because it's second skill, auto on rear guard circle once per turn. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, choose up to 1 card from your drop, put it into soul if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater. This guy gets 5k, so a little bit of power for itself, which is nice. Obviously, Persona Ride in here makes this a 25k, boosted with a 13k booster. Philia, boom, you're going to get a 28k because honestly, this guy and the card I just read off, they want to be boosted by her or this guy right here. It really doesn't matter, but obviously this always wants to boost a Tilligan. So you have to kind of decide what you want in the back row in terms of that. The real estate is a little bit crunched. I just feel like she's really good in terms of gaining a little bit of power, getting that piggy bank kind of mechanic over and over. I think at a 1 of it's absolutely fine. So yeah, we have things that find your Persona Ride, obviously call itself back, build a board every single turn. Like you see one of these and they just in tandem work. You call him first, you soul charge, you call her, you soul blast. Like it becomes a whole lot easier. Philia, you just drop him down as soon as you can. If your opponent has actually, let's go over because I don't think we actually went over the skill. This unit boost if your opponent has 1 or less rear guard, or you play an order card this turn, gets 5k until the end of battle. Until the end of battle, put this unit into soul, draw a card. Again, just everything that the Shenri pretty much does. The card draw just feels better. This deck actually feels like a real deck at this point because of that. Lastly, kind of in the main deck, aside from the PGs over here, and this is the cat basically for the counter charge. If you need it, you don't really have a ton in this deck. This guy also gets 15k if you do the whole put 2 of the ride deck things back into the ride deck face up. Aside from that, the orders that we are running, because Philia is in this deck, I did want to I was trying a bunch of things and there's kind of mixed results. I found in this particular build, I actually did like this one, Have a Great Year. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it to soul shuffle your deck, no cost, super easy, you can get it off on a grade 2, so if you want to rush down Philia, super easy, you don't need to commit anything really, you don't need a soul blast, don't need a soul counter charge, and selective soul charging, putting things into your piggy bank to call off Oselargest actually feels pretty decent. It's not searchable, so that's why we are running it at that 3 overall. I feel like you do see it often enough. We are also running 1 Radiance Calibrant, again, counter charge. If you need to draw, that's kind of the point of this deck. Aggress as hard as you can, as being as stable as you can. Drawing 2 cards feels really good if you find that you're not in a state that you need a bunch of counterblast. If not, the counterblast is kind of pretty important for the multi-attack over here. So in reality, you can probably cut this guy down to 3 if you wanted to slot something else in and maybe one more order card somewhere. I'll give you a suggestion a little bit later. Of course, running Elementaria in here and also just the Game of the Underworld, as we mentioned before. So in terms of heals, I am running 3 of the regular one of the multi-attacker, just because something in my local meta, I just kind of wanted to counter a little bit, but do whatever you want. If you want to do 4 vanilla, that's absolutely fine. It's probably what I would revert to in a larger field setting, to be honest. A crit for them into soul. We need soul. It's good to have. I also am running the fronts. You should have your front row kind of filled up over here. It is super important to have that. Helps you also just break numbers in general. So yeah, I feel like this deck is very playable now. It's not a meta cracker. It's not going to be topping anytime soon in terms of, every single BSF, whatever you want to call this, the new Springfest, whatever it's called. But I feel like this is an actually very playable state right now. It is kind of fun. You can take some games off some people who aren't expecting it. But let's hop right into the next one over here. This is the Coro boss, and very few things have changed here. Let me just go over it really quickly. Again, I would kind of bump this down, use one more of the other promo card that I did mention. Over here, we are running now the ace unit because we have the energy to kind of use it. It just got a little clunky with the other one when we were using it. I didn't want to do that, so I am running the ace unit now on here. So when this guy is placed on rearguard circle, other than during the battle phase, you get the 5k. Energy Blast 3, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose the 1 card from among them, put it into Soul Shuffle for your deck, choose 1 card greater or less than equal to your Vanguard from your Soul, Cold to rear. Again, Piggy Bank kind of just does what the deck wants to do, sure. And also you can Soul Blast. If you Soul Blasted 3 or more, or your Soul has 5 or more cards, this guy gets an additional 5k, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, gets another 5k. So it just gives power to itself, can actually become a pretty big unit, and just does that whole piggy bank mechanic. Still the same ride line because it is Oselargest overall. I'm sorry, I should have started with this, I just realized, but this is going to be save everyone from Oselargest, Rewinder, Chrono. So this is not the other one, because there is the other Dark States build that is pretty good from the start deck set. This over here on Vanguard, once per turn, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, CB1, put a rear guard into Soul, choose the 1 card different grade from the card, put into Soul from the cost of this, from your Soul, Call to rear, and this unit gets triple drive till the end of turn. Triple drive feels okay. This also, again, kind of puts things back in, whereas Oselargest didn't. It's just a CB. You don't need the Energy Blast, or a little more free, like I said, to run other cards as well. If you want to do Cyclers in here, totally go for it. I think you can actually put the Energy Cyclers in here and it would feel really good. But aside from that, not much has changed outside of maybe we don't rely on our order package as much here in terms of going to search it out. I feel like you just want to rush down. If you see it, sure. If not, that's fine. Like, you want to be able to hit Philia on your grade 3 turn, just make a big number, boosting a triple drive Vanguard, kind of spreading your power. Some of the units boost themselves a little bit different. Selectively also using this right here is Zargon. I'm slotting Zargon on this one. Again, I'm testing this guy out. This isn't like 100% done, but I feel like I need recyclability, and Zargon kind of hits me with that a little bit easier. I don't know why this build just felt a little bit different overall. In terms of other order differences, since we don't have power on our Vanguard anymore, and it feels really bad when you're just swinging 13k unboosted kind of into an opponent, I'm trying Haunted Ball. So Haunted Ball kind of goes along with Zargon in that it needs to stack your soul. We're using our Energy Blast instead of Counter Blast now, so you choose 2 cards when you drop, put them to Soul. If your Soul has 10 or more cards, choose one of your Vanguards, gets 10k. It just basically allows you to recycle a lot of these things so that you can call a card out, because you're putting one thing into Soul and you have to call something with a different grade, so you have to be a little bit more selective of what you put into Soul. Overall, I feel like this is the worst version of it. I would go with the main Oselargest. That's kind of what I've been testing a little bit more. I've played a couple games with this list. I think the first one felt a little better. Also, I'm running Shroud of Darkness in here. Again, more about the recyclability thing. If you did not ride from the ride deck, you could play this without paying the cost. CB1, choose up to 2 non-sentinel normal units with different card names than some of the grades being less than or equal to your Vanguard from your drop. Call them to rearguard circle. It just feels good to kind of recycle her out over here when you Soul Blast it, let's say for Tilligan. Just getting that kind of recyclability, making sure that you're over and over, just like hopefully using an order, hopefully doing things, and getting her ability off and just drawing. That's simple as that. Still the same draw engine here, still the same draw engine here. Feels decent. If you wanted to spice it up, sure, this is an option. Lastly, I'm not going to go too crazy in an explanation. This over here is a budget version of the deck, and I'm going to say it, I really think this is pretty functional. I don't think this is too bad at all. This still feels decent overall. The Philia definitely helps. it's not 1,000% necessary, and like where you lack because of that, you still have your main card draw engine right here. This became pretty cheap, like they're less than like $2 or something like that now. These, you know, obviously are super cheap, but the main additions here, we're gonna max out truly for a 4-3 over here. I always feel like I'd rather have this than that one, just because this one's soul charges, that one's soul blasts. Yeah, it's up to you though, which way you want to go. But this one over here is a little bit different. You have a Vanguard with Oselargest in its card name. This guy gets intercept, can intercept from the back row, and 5k. Again, just a little bit more beefy. Over here too, this card was really expensive for a long time, Fel Croatia, and you only use half the skill, but it feels really good. When this guy attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, choose up to 1 Dark States from your drop. This guy gets 5k until the end of battle for each grade of that card. Put that chosen unit into soul. Choose this right here. It gets an extra 15k. You're piggy banking once again, allowing it to kind of do what it wants to do. If you also want to, if any Oselargest have been soul blasted, sure, put that back in and then give the ability to this guy to then just start spamming Oselargest soul blast. So this is like under $1. I don't want to go into that, sorry. Yeah, this is like under $1 now. I'm sorry, I thought I had it pulled up right there, but I feel like this is okay to put in a budget deck. Zargon also, just, you know, again, fill up your soul, put your piggy bank onto there. Kind of create this like pseudo pressure early game if you just spam it. We're not running crazy orders, any regalias pieces, anything like that, because they're all, I think, pretty expensive. Just do whatever you want in terms of that. Right now I just have these 4 slotted in instead. I value this one, the intercept, actually, because it allows you to put that early game pressure on. Like I said, like, you know, you just slap down the Zargon, slap this down, you know, you can still guard out if they're not like a super retire deck or anything like that, have a ton of control. And then lastly, something to kind of insulate us once again, and because we are running this right here, I think there's like a point where you can run this without worrying about the energy blast. But this is going to be Walk of the Dark. This card can be played from soul, played with energy blast 3. Choose one of your units being attacked, 15k in the end of battle. This guy's played from soul, put it onto the bottom deck, so it becomes a searchable card for this right here. And, you know, you can use it, pop it into soul, do whatever you need to do. I know you have to be careful with this energy blasting right here, but if you go second, it feels pretty decent. And yeah, you're not like necessarily reliant on it or anything. For budget decks too, I always run fronts. It doesn't matter if the deck like absolutely needs it, unless it has like a skill that says you need a draw trigger for XYZ. Always run vanilla fronts. 15k is just better. 5k shields mean absolutely nothing in this game. So this actually feels like a really decent list as well. For this one is definitely under like $30. Like it's pretty cheap, I think, at this point to run this. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm looking at here that's like more than that for sure. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, any changes to this list that you would make. I find that this deck is actually really fun, something to like not be too serious with, just play with my friends or maybe locals, things like that. And that's what I kind of did last Friday. So it was fun. I had a good time with it, and I actually really like it. So I decided to bring the build to the channel. Thank you guys in advance. More content will be coming out definitely in the future. So sorry for the hiatus, and thank you for clicking on this, because the algorithm probably hates me right now. So this is Alex from Alex CFE signing out.